Hi guys, this is my eighth video. I just want to thank everybody who left me a message on my prior videos. Like I said before, thank you for all the comments, especially the informative comments about the technical aspect of targeting. Today, I just want to kind of talk about my current gang stalking, my mobbing, community stalking, harassment experience as of now. I've noticed since I'm more aware of the tactics. One, I gotta say that I'm less, you know, I'm less agitated now, I would say, meaning that it's almost like it doesn't phase me as much as it used to. And I think it's because I'm kind of aware of like the tactics, and then I know they're trying to get a reaction out of me. But I still find it sometimes, as serious, as terrible as it is, sometimes it's almost, like comical. Although I know that they're harassing me, so I can, isolate myself and the rest. So I just want to kind of talk about my like experience, and specifically maybe today. Today I went out and went to a grocery store. So when I go out, I always expect the same thing. Some people walk by me and mumble something. I usually have headphones on, and usually listen to like different testimonies while I'm walking around and what. So I don't pay too much attention. They try to say something. I look at them usually knowing that I know that you're part of this whole thing. So keep doing your thing. It doesn't faze me. But today was kind of interesting because there it was kind of comical too. Because I was coming out of the grocery store, and as I was going out, I have my bags, my two bags, and I look in front of me. There's three young teenage girls. I mean, like the oldest maybe 15 or so. And I'm looking at it, and obviously they're trying to be seen, right? They're trying to be noticed by me. I see them like try to like walk like they're on the runway and like trying to act womanly or something, but it's obvious they're like kids, and it was almost like funny. But the funny part is like a an obvious gangster, one of the perps, came and just looked at me and was like, oh, he like tried to say that he caught me in the act of something, right? But it's so obvious they're trying to depict this narrative. But the funny part is like at some point, I was just like, I know what they're trying to get my attention or whatever, and it's just kind of joke. And the more I ignore them, the more like they're trying to do the catwalk, which is kind of funny too. I'm sure the it was kind of ridiculous. But and then at one point I was like, okay, this is it's getting annoying. Let me just walk past them, and they just, instead of letting me pass them, just walk even faster so they can stay in front of me. And then more people will come and just kind of look at me and just like, which is like, okay, it's obvious. I know you're trying to make it look like this kid's like, in my mind, it didn't even phase me. It's like, okay, this is like a desperate move. It's kind of a desperate move of you trying to create this narrative, and it was almost funny at some points, right? It was funny, and and then other kids who just pass by and do that run. It was almost ridiculous. But at the same time, they would be like um, very like attractive grown women, like posing for pictures, trying to get my attention, and like, and they did get my attention, but you know it's not part of the narrative. But so um but at that point, to me, it was kind of funny. But when I got to my room, my apartment, I'm like, in my mind, that was funny. It was like, okay, this is obvious that And one thing to mention that it seemed like there was like an adult directing the kids and just orchestrating the kids to walking, which I'm sure the kids feel more embarrassed than the adult. And to describe the kids who are like black or Latino kids, and there's like a middle age, like mid 30s white woman or mid 40s white woman just kind of like walking fast around them, and yeah. So one is just like, first of all, these adults directing kids to do that they're just shameless. But we understand this is a it's a this program is something else. So shame, whoever is doing this, you can't have any shame. You have to be shameless, and you have to present yourself as somebody who's a serious person. But they kept this role trying to really, and I know they're trying to agitate me, and I'm like, for me, I just look at the handler. I just, especially the handler or whoever is in charge directing the kids, because she's usually she's just like walking faster, like sense of urgency, and I just look at her, and I'm like, you're a sad person. That's what I truly mean in my mind. I don't see it, but and then when I get in my room, to me, it's like, okay, that was not the interesting outing where they're trying to do their whole little character or whatever. And then that's where the V2K start kicking in, right? Then the V2K is trying to play tricks in my mind, right? And trying to bring doubts in my brain. And that's where, that's when you realize that how your thoughts are now so hacked that it's almost a joke, right? But your brain tries to kind of are so manipulated that you kind of try to work a way to to fit in with that narrative, but it's so obvious. And when it doesn't go that way, I literally feel pain in my brain. Like I feel like pressure, like pain in my brain. And it's like if I don't allow or follow this narrative, I feel like this pain, like I do feel pain. And the sad thing is, like, you know, they were like actual uh, grown women that caught my attention, and not to be, but I'm an adult man, and there was attractive adult women that caught my attention, and I noticed that that part, because it doesn't fit the narrative, it's kind of like blocked out. And yeah, so now I notice that they're really trying to force it to the point, but it's just almost comical, because I feel like they all know it's BS, right? They all know that they all know their role basically, and it's almost like a joke. And the funny thing is, like, like I said, I have perps living with me, roommates. I have people outside on the patio talking and trying to, enforce their narrative in it, and it's almost. I mean, it's sad. I mean, comical is the word that keeps coming in, because the level of theater, the level of of irrationality is just so grand that it's hard to just imagine a grown adult directing a bunch of kids to get my attention, right? And not only that, to tell them to how you should just trying to like trying to act women like kids, like I think like high school and max, like maybe sophomore high school to like middle school. I don't know, but it's just obvious. And it's just like it's obvious that they're trying to get this narrative, like, and trying to make it seem like I'm this like predator, and like they need to keep an eye on me. And I think that's usually what's the narrative, but it's just so obvious that it's that is an act that is orchestrated. It's they have people just walking around, just and I mean, I sometimes wonder, okay, don't you, as a grown adult doing this, I know it's serious because I know the goal is to really break a person to the point where completely they completely broken, where they have nothing, where their sense, the self-esteem is broken until they are destitute. Um, but as an adult, as a grown, I mean, I'm talking about middle-aged women. They probably have kids, their own kids, but they're not using their kids. In this case, they're using kids in the neighborhood, directing kids to do this, and it's kind of sad. I mean, I keep saying sad, but it's just in my mind, I can't imagine, like, in what circumstance I would, if I was in their shoes, what would I have to tell myself to do this? I mean, it's just really. But I'm not here to psychoanalyze who they are, but just to kind of talk about the fact that they're really in their role, right? I don't know how to tell themselves. I don't know how to delude themselves. It's obvious they know it's not the case, but it's obvious that they are relentless in regard of trying to maintain this narrative that is obviously false, because some of them just literally left. I can see them just passing by, like almost cracking, like breaking out of character, or like and others are like just really into it and trying to make it seem like the so I mean, they understand that this how serious it is, because at the end of the day they're trying to destroy your life. And as comical as it is, you know they know that what they're doing is that diabolical. And if it means that they have to play dumb and play this actor, they have to play this role, um, to enforce whatever narrative they push, so that this whole community, or the community, can just follow. But I feel like the community itself is aware that this is bullshit. um, but for them to continue to play that game, and I mean, not even less. So some of them look serious. Others, obviously, they're like that close from laughing. Others are like super nervous because it's obvious that they're playing a game that's gonna cost somebody's life. Um, and yeah, so now the gang stalking has become something else. They're really trying to create that narrative, but it's at the same time, I don't react. In my reaction are very limited. If anything, there's times where I want to laugh myself, knowing that what they're doing is so disturbing. But in the moment of them doing it, it's just like, it's almost like, come on. And I mean, I know that you have to act, but this is just it's ridiculous, but it's almost funny. And seeing like a grown woman just running behind me, like just behind those kids, and trying to direct them. And perhaps she might be a parent, but not using her own kids to do this dumb, terrible thing that she's trying to have those kids do. Um, it's sad, but in regard of how does he agitate me? Not at all. Not when it's happening. I'm just, to me, it's almost comical. Like they're trying to make it more serious. Somebody's trying comes by and mumbles something, but it doesn't really faze me at the moment. I get mad when I'm back in my room, or when I'm by myself. that's when my thoughts, my mind is starting to play, like all the different scenarios, and it's just become like, okay, my brain is like fighting me. It's like at that point, I feel like the V2K. That's when V2K started like doing the heavy lifting, and trying to alternate my real thoughts into the way they wanted for me to think. So isolation is always when I feel like my way of thinking breaks. When I'm in the real world, when interact even with perps, and when I see them doing the in the real world, it's just like I see it for what it is. But as soon as in my room, isolated or just kind of relaxed and kind of more vulnerable mentally, it just seems like that's when things happen. That's when I'm like have different scenarios in my head going in, and my perception changes, and I'm like, okay, that's when I get a little more agitated. But I'm getting to a point where it's also becoming okay, where I understand. I kind of detach myself from whatever this is happening, because you know when you have a taste of like reality, when you go outside and like I said, you're around people, even though those people are part of this whole scheme, you still kind of remember, um, and you still remember of reality. But then when you're in your room or when you're isolated, that's when your brain just start working against you, and then that's when the narrative in your brain start playing off. Um, it's it's uh it's interesting that the gang stalking is becoming less and less impactful. The harassment, the community harassment is becoming less impactful in the sense where I'm becoming less agitated when I see whatever acting they're doing. It's just that doesn't face me as much. I think when you're just by yourself, that's when the brain, that's when the V2K start working against you, when your thoughts are manipulated to think in a certain way, um, when you start kind of fighting your brain against like, okay, and it's like, and you literally start feeling like actual pain. um so this video, I just want to kind of talk about my experience now as a the gang stalking and community mobbing, um kind of talk about how it's impacting me, especially now that I'm more aware of the goal and what they're trying to do. um and I have to say, definitely I'm becoming less agitated. um I kind of see through it much more than before. Before, when especially when you think that it only happens to you, you're like, okay, why is the whole world against me? But now that you see it's just an act, the truth is they really, they know who you really are, but they're trying to portray you as something else. So it's an act for them, and they really try to stick to the acting. Um, I'm learning how to not pick them. No, I'm learning to understand that this is just an act. They know it's obvious. Whatever they whisper, whatever when they use kids, they know it's not anything that and I know they're trying to just maintain the narrative at all costs, right? Um, so yes, so yeah, just wanted to talk about my gang stalking, now my harassment, but uh, just really um, want to keep telling people, keep telling the target individuals that please, if you are experiencing gang stalking, start seeing them for what they are, right? However, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. One, they're trying to isolate you. Two, they're trying to make you think that you're something that you're not. Three, and if you just see that as an act, as grand theater. You start to become less faced by them. So whatever they whisper, whatever trigger words, whatever, however they act, however shameless act they're doing, just don't even don't even go for it. It's it's uh, it's just a tactic, a deception to get you riled up and to make you feel anxious. They're just acting, and as shamelessly as it is, just don't sweat it. Just let it go. When it comes to the V2K, that's the hardest part for me, at least. The V2K is just that's when it's I mean your mind is hacked, and at that point it's just it's hard for me to just ignore what's going on in my brain. But yeah, just guys, just maintain, stay strong. Don't fall for it. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt others. And just know that justice will be done for what they've done to us and for those who are no longer with us. Thank you guys, and God bless you.